Hello friends, my name is Sanjay and in this video I'm going to create a tic-tac-toe game from scratch. I have done it once or twice and I have this code and I will run it just to show you that what we will get at the end of our video. So let us run this code and let's see how our game plays. So here we have two players, one is Sanju and another is Nisha. So let us say Sanju clicks on a button and then Nisha clicks on another and Sanju clicks here. Now it's Nisha's turn, so it will be Nisha. Now it is suppose Sanju here, it is Nisha here, and then let us say it is again Sanju here and it is Nisha here. So we got a winner, that is congratulations Nisha, you won. And these are the boxes, diagonal boxes, where we have got 3 Nisha in a line, so we have got the winner here. Okay, so this is how we will get our game at the end. So let us code this from scratch. I will show you line by line. So we are using here Tkinter. So first of all we will import from Tkinter, import everything. Okay, and also we need message box from Tkinter, import message box. Message box is used to show some info errors or info and error in a message box, so that is for what we are going to use it. So let us start our window, that is root is equal to tk class. Okay, so this is a tk class object, root is our tk class object. Let us give it some title, that is the title of our window, and let us say the title is Tic-Tac-Toe. Okay, game, and let us start the main loop. So root dot main loop. Okay, and let us check if our window is created or not. So this is our window and this is the title, Tic-Tac-Toe. Okay, so now let us create some buttons. Now to create buttons we are going to use a somewhat different method. Here we are going to use a f string, b and I. For I in range we will have 9 buttons, so from 1 to 9. So this we will get here a list of characters from b1 to b9. So let us check if we have got that list or not. So you can see here this is b1, b2, b3 up to b9. Now we are going to further modify this string list, all these characters in this list to button widgets. Okay, so let us create a first empty list here. This list will carry our buttons, and now let us create our buttons. For k in buttons we will use this method, global k equals button will be within our root window, and initial text will be empty because initially all the buttons must be empty. Let us assume some width equal, let us say 20, and height equal 10, and let us highlight the background with yellow. Okay, so that's all for now, and this is globals, right? Yeah, globals. Okay, so let us check if we and now we are going to append this button into buttons list. So let us copy this globals k and put it here. Okay, so let us now check if our list of button widgets is created or not. So let us print, run this now. Okay, so here we can see in our console box, this is a Tkinter button object. Okay, so this is a button object. How many objects are there? 1, 2, 3, like that, and we will go up to 9 here. So we have got 9 button objects. Okay, so buttons are created. Now let us pack them. First let us bind them to some function. We have to bind these buttons to some function, so that some action, whenever we click on these buttons, some action must happen. So let us bind them to left, some event, that is left click of the mouse, and which function should we call when this left mouse click happens? We will call a function click. We have not created this yet, but we will click it shortly. We will create this shortly. And okay, so here we are done, and let us click, let us create this function click, and let us just simply put it like this, pass. So nothing happens now, but later we will modify this. First let us pack these buttons into rows and columns. So initially let us put row is equal to 0, column is equal to 0, and let us use a for loop for I in range. How many buttons are there? 9. For I in range 9. Okay, now buttons I, okay, dot grid row equals row and column equals column. Okay, now we have to use some logic here. See, when I varies from 0 to 2, row must remain 0. Okay, because first 3 buttons are in the same row. Okay, so row doesn't change until our first 3 buttons are packed. So but it changes to 1 when our column reaches, so when our third column is reached. Okay, so if let us say I equals 3, or I equals, it also changes when I is 6. Okay, so when sixth, when our when seventh button, that is sixth index button, when we reach at that button, call this row again changes. So whenever I is 3 or row is 3, or I is 6, our row must be increased by 1, or we should put it here 2, because or else we have to use this line above this line. So we will simply change this one. When I is equal to 2 or I is equal to 5, we are going to increment our row by 1, and Okay, and when our I is equal to 2, again our column must become again column must become 0 again. Okay, because after second index our column maximum that maximum number of column is reached. Okay, there are only three columns, 0 1 2, and again it goes to 0. So when we reach I is equal to 2, column must again become 0. Okay, so I think this should do the job, and this must pack this button. So let us check if it is done or not. Okay, so let us run this. I think we missed something. Alright, it is showing us three uh, buttons only. So where we need to change something, buttons dot create row is equal to row, column is equal to column. So column, okay, so we need to increment the column also, no? Column plus equals 1 each time. With each iteration column must increase. Initially when I is 0, our row is 0. Okay, and row remains 0 up to third column, and therefore column must increase. Call value of this column, it must increase. Okay, so let us see it now. Okay, so it is going up to fourth column. So maybe I need to control X here, and let us put it here. Let us see if this doesn't change anything. I think row is 0, column is 0, I is 5, 0 1 2 3 4 5, column becomes 6. Alright, okay, so it worked, right? So now but still if we click on these buttons nothing happens. You can see here it doesn't change anything. So let us create this function, this click function here, so that whenever we left click on our button something must happen. So for that let us first of all we must know whose turn it is, if it is player 1 or player 2, and we can also create some player names, or we can say text here. Say let us say we have two players, one is uh, Sanju and another player is, let us say, Nisha, and turn, let us say initially it is the first turn, I mean it is the turn of the first player, or we can also write it like this, first or second. You can write number or character, anything, it doesn't matter. uh, I will write it like this, first turn. Okay, so this is the first player's turn initially. And also let us keep the count of the number of clicks. There can be maximum only 9 number of clicks in this game, because there are 9 boxes. So initially let us put the count equal to 0. Okay, now when this click button is called, automatically this button widget, information of the button widget, it gets passed to the function. Okay, and we also need to call these functions too. So global turn and count, we will call these variables in this function. Okay, so this b, this carries the information about the widget, and we can call upon that uh, information using this method b is equal to b dot widget, and whatever the text is within this widget, that we can use, that we can extract using b text. Okay, so initially we know there is no text there, we have kept the buttons empty, so this text, it will not print anything. Now when this when the first player clicks for the first time, we will get text is equal to nothing, I mean it will be empty, and turn will be first and count will be 0. Okay, so let us use this if statement. If txt equals empty, okay, and turn equals first, okay, so it is first player turn, and whichever button he has clicked, it is empty. In that case, this txt, or you can use b text, this we are going to uh, change, we are going to input the text here. Which text? Let us use the this name of the player. So player, there are two players only, player Sanju and Nisha. So this we should write this on the button. When this Sanju, this first player, it clicks on a button, on that button this text should appear. So we will call this using this a list subscription method. Okay, and we will increase the count by 1 because we have clicked a number, and turn is going to shift from first to second. Okay, and if text is again empty, and if turn is second, so if this if the click is made by the second player, okay, in that case, first requirement is that button must be empty, and second is that it must be the turn of the second player. Okay, so in that case, again, whichever button that player clicks, that button must show the text, and that text must contain the name of the player. Okay, and again we will increase the count by 1, and now turn passes to first player. Okay, alright, this is the basic click function, and each time whenever there is a click of the button on empty button, we must check if there is a winner. Okay, so if there is a correct pattern of the, there is a correct winning pattern, then we must declare it that okay, there is a winner, and then we should stop the play. So this function we have not created yet, but it must be created before this function because we are calling it here, so it must be created above this function. So define check if won. Okay, and what do we need here to check if there is a winner? So we must know some patterns. Okay, we know how a player wins in tic-tac-toe. So player wins whenever there is a row of same name, or there is a column with all three same names, or there are three diagonal elements with the same name. Whenever that pattern appears, there is a winner. Okay, so let us check. So again we are going to okay, so let us again create a for loop. For I in range 9, there will be 9 buttons. We have to check all these 9 buttons if there is any pattern of the if there is any winning pattern. So let us say we start by checking from first button. If I equals let us say 0, okay, or if we start with second row, then I will be 3, and or if I equals 0, 3 and 6. Okay, so if I is 6, we can start from this row, and yeah, okay, we must use another variable here, global winner, and initially winner is false, means there is no winner. Okay, and we also don't know which pattern uh, is the I mean which winning pattern we are going to get here. We don't know that yet, so we will create an empty list in which later we are going to store the indexes of the cells which creates the winning pattern. So we are simply putting it at an empty list here. Okay, now if the winning pattern is if it consists of rows, then rows we are going to start with I is equal to 0, I is equal to 3 and I is equal to 6. If winning pattern starts from there, then in that case buttons I and its, so this is the button number I and its text, it is X, let us say. Okay, so we must match this text with some player name. Okay, so I would say for X in players, so I have to check for both players. Okay, so for X in players, what is players? Players is a list of names of the players, this list. So first of all, X will be Sanju, X's value will be Sanju. So I am checking if button I, that is button number I, its text if it is X, and buttons I plus 1, that is, suppose let us say I is 0, so button 0 is Sanju, button 0 plus 1, that is second button is also its text is also equals X, and buttons I plus 2 text, it also equals Sanju. Then in that case what is the problem here? Buttons I text equals where, what is problem here? Negative title for variable annotation, buttons dot I plus text is equal to X. Okay, if again I have to use here if statement, if this, then so we have a winning pattern here, and what we will do, win dot index will be equal to I plus 1 and I plus 2. So this pattern it will check winning pattern for all three rows, for I is equal to 0, I is equal to 3, I is equal to 6. So if third row is, suppose if we are forming a third row winning pattern, I mean at index 6, 7, 8, so it will be 6, 7, 8. If winning pattern is forming in the second row, that is index number 3, 3, 4 and 5, so this is our winning indexes here, and winner, it becomes true, right? Okay, so this is the we have checked it the winning pattern for the rows. Now if there is column winning pattern can also get formed, so in that case column can This pattern can start from 0 itself, or it can also start from I is equal to 1, or it can start from I is equal to 2. Okay, and what will be the condition here? If buttons I, okay, I, its text equals whichever player we are having in the for loop x, and buttons I plus how much indexes, how many number of indexes we have to move to reach the other row. Obviously we need to move by 3, I think, you know? So 0 1 2 3, so plus 3. Okay, and text, it must have same text as the first one, and then the third row element, that will be buttons dot I plus 6. Okay, and it must carry the same text, that is x. So we have got another winning pattern here if this happens. And what will happen? Winning index will be I plus 3 and I plus 6, right? And winner will be true. Okay, or if there can be diagonal pattern also, and diagonal pattern can start from I is equal to 0, and in that case what will happen? What is the requirement of forming a winning pattern? So button I must be equal to x, and second button will be at I plus 4, right? So let us say this is the first button and this will be fifth button. Okay, and third is the I plus 8. Okay, so this will be our ninth element. So this is the first, fifth and ninth element. These are the diagonal elements, they must carry same name of the player, and this will be I plus 4 and this will be I plus 8. So this is a winning pattern. And second diagonal winning pattern, it can start at I is equal to index number 2, that is the third element. So I is equal to 2 is x, then I is I plus 2, that is the fifth element, and its index will be 4. So if I is equal to 2, this will be 4, and this is the fifth element, and this one is the seventh element. This must be the seventh element, 2 5 and 7, and so we have to write here 4, so that index is 6. So sixth index is the seventh element. Okay, and winning indexes are I plus 2 and I plus 4. Okay, so this for loop, it first runs for first player, then it checks for the second player, it checks for both the players. Okay, so this is quite shorter code as compared to what we see in general in other videos. So this will check if there is a winner. Okay, so now if there is a winner, now we have checked all the conditions. If so let us see here, if winner equals true and count is, do we need to check the count? I think if winner is true, I don't think we don't need count here. If winner is true, then what we will do, first of all we will highlight that pattern. Okay, so for highlighting that pattern, we will, for what we will do, for k n win we know the indexes of the those winning pattern. Okay, winning elements for k in win index. What we want to do, buttons whose indexes are within the that winning index list. We want to change the background color here. Okay, I think we need to highlight background by some color, so let us say red color. Okay, and also we need to disable all the buttons. I mean, once we have got the winner, we don't want to make further clicks um, by the players, so we don't want other clicks to be made by the players. So for that we can use some function, disable all buttons, and this function we will create shortly. Okay, and also we want to display a message. Okay, and what message we want to display? Let's create a f string. We want to congratulate the winning player, so congratulations whoever is the winner, congratulations x you won. Okay, so this is the message that we want to display, and we can now use that message box dot. So what we want to do, we want to display some info, and with what info? That is b. So this text string, it will get displayed here. And suppose we don't have any winner. I mean, if elif winner is false, when can this happen? It can happen when all the buttons are clicked but still we don't get any winning pattern. So if winner is false and count is equal to 9, okay, then in that case what we want to do, we want to display message box dot info. It is a tie, no one wins. Okay, so message box dot info this. Okay, so there is something remaining here, and that is this function. But first of okay, and one more thing, we need to break our for loop here. We don't want any further unnecessary iterations. Okay, because we have got the winner. But I think we should put it below this. Okay, I think I'm using correct method here, and let me check it. I don't want to be wrong. So show info. Okay, so this method is show info. All right, so this will be show info. Okay, so our for loop will get broken here, and now let us check our program up until now if it is correct or not. So we have got this grid here. So first player is Sanju, second Nisha, third turn again it will be Sanju, then Nisha, then it will be again Sanju, and it is Nisha here. And let us create Sanju here, Nisha here, and Sanju here. So okay, so we have a winner here, and Sanju is the winner, so it highlighted here. Okay, so nothing happens if I click on these buttons now. Okay, so I think this is okay, all the code is correct up till now. But we need to create this function at last, and it should be above this one. So define disable all buttons, and what we will do for k in buttons, for k in buttons, what we want to do, k dot config and state is disabled. Okay, so all the buttons, they will be disabled. So I think that's all. We have created our program, so let us run it once again. And you can also change the names here. For example, if you want to create Ankush and Akhil, suppose these are two different players. Now when you click the buttons, what we will see, Ankush, Akhil, Ankush, Akhil, Ankush. So we have got a winner, that is Ankush. Now nothing happens if we I mean, these are disabled now. It doesn't look nice here. If you click after this, you can see that screen is now it is dented, and you know that game is over. So I think that is all, and you can see that this is less than 77 lines. I mean, it is 77 lines of codes, and this is very short code. So I hope you liked the I hope you liked the code, and if there is anything you want to ask about the code, you can write in the comment box. Please do that. Okay, take care, bye bye, keep coding.